Hello everyone that's been watching us. Guess where we've ended up now? We are in Wisconsin, I believe. Yeah, Wisconsin. And we're at Circle Sanctuary Nature Preserve. And hello to Australia first, hello to America, hello to England, hello to everyone who's been following us. I'm here with Selena Fox and Elizabeth Thornley's with me. She's holding the camera, aren't you?
Right on.
Right on. We've travelled absolutely everywhere, and now we're in the beautiful stone circle here in the sanctuary, and I've had a bit of a tour with Selena, and she's taken us all over her beautiful lands here, and I'd like to share with you some of those spots and the future, you know, the future vision here and what's going to happen tonight, and there's just so much to share. So welcome, Selena.
Well, good to have you visit.
Thank
It's
you.
wonderful. And it's good that we're here in this stone circle because literally we have stones and pebbles and crystals and shells and other natural objects that have been brought here by people from all over the world.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I believe tonight we're doing that as well. We've been asked all to bring a stone or a pebble or a
Right.
crystal, and then we're going to all add to the circle.
Right.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So it's fantastic. So how long have you had this beautiful land?
1983 is when we began our land project, and we moved here shortly after Samhain of that year, and we just celebrated our 30th anniversary, so
Wow,
that was good.
congratulations.
Yeah.
That's a big achievement. Like, so 30 years, 30th anniversary, but I believe is it 40 years? Or...
Yeah, our organization at this
Okay.
Samhain is going to be celebrating turning 40. I started Circle Sanctuary back in 1974.
Oh my goodness, I was 4 years old. Showing my age. Wow, wow, that's incredible. So 40 years with the sanctuary, but or with your organisation, and 30 years here with the sanctuary. How big is the land here? How much space?
We have 200 acres, and we have ridge tops and fields, meadows. We've got restored prairie, wetlands, a stream that we call the Stream of Consciousness. It's on the official map now. And springs and a variety of different creatures and plants all over the place. It's great.
It's fantastic. So you've got, I know we've been to the cemetery, we've got the stone circle. How many different ritual spaces or sites would you have here?
We have several dozen.
Okay.
Some are large group gathering places. The Stone Circle was one of our first sacred places that we created and did work here. We also have a festival circle, which is a much larger space for our larger festivals. And we have some really small places as well, where one person might be able to fit. We have something called Spirit Cave that's near Spirit Rock, an ancient Native American holy place. And a trail that leads up to the big rock goes to this little opening in the rock outcropping, and there's this naturally occurring seat there where people can quest for vision. So it's really amazing to see the diversity of the sites that we have, most of which are naturally occurring, and we discovered them and decided to start using them for ritual.
Isn't that just beautiful? Because, and you can see how it's evolved. You've kept it very natural. You've kept it very real and very earth-like and very beneficial for the land. And you can see how it's evolved. Like I'm looking over, and maybe Elizabeth will show you afterwards the great rise, because we're quite high up here, yeah, and we've got this beautiful view behind us that's absolutely stunning. So you've just for miles, all we're seeing is this just beautiful lands. And you've, with regards to housing or property, what's here? We've seen the main house, is that right down there, and there's a barn? Are they the only two buildings we've got?
Yeah, our two main buildings on this property are our remodeled barn, where we have our indoor circle space, our temple room, and our church offices. And then we have the circle house, or the circle farmhouse, where we have additional facilities, kitchens, and we have library, archives, and some other things.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So you've got a library that's open to the public?
We don't presently have it open to the public.
Yeah.
We have it more as a research library. We're in the process of renovating the house.
Yes.
And so we're making decisions about where to house the different sections of our archives. And eventually we want to get an additional building that's climate control and more room for more books and magazines and CDs and other types of materials.
That you have, because you have the Circle Sanctuary magazine, I believe.
Right, and we've been
Yeah.
publishing since 1970s, and started out by 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and then it went to a newsprint tabloid format, and now it's a magazine, color cover, and we've been publishing for many years, and featuring contributions from people of many different paths of paganism and other nature religions. And part of the reason we publish is to help connect and share information.
That's fantastic. It's
So we
just
have it in
wonderful.
print, but we also
Yes.
have it digital because more
Yes.
people are preferring that, and especially in other countries, it's easier to get that and access it and more economical.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, and we want to support that. So, can anybody write in and submit articles to the
Yes,
magazine
yes,
and
and
to help you with that and help promote it? Help
yeah, if
promote
you
the
go
message?
to our website, you will see a link for a magazine, and we have submissions, information on there,
Fantastic.
some
We can
sample
share that.
articles, and some other materials. Yeah.
We should share that. So, what's the address for the website?
www.circlesanctuary.org. And they'll take you to our main page, and you will see a variety of different things we're doing there. Not only our magazine, but events and networking services.
And you were speaking about festivals before, and we were taken to a beautiful circle, the festival circle, is it the festival
Right.
ritual space? And you mentioned you could have 300 people participating in that
Right.
circle. And there's also a camp area there that you can house up to 300 tents or 300
Right,
campers.
yeah.
So that's quite amazing. How often would you have those? Because that's a large event to put on. How often would you run big events like
Our
that?
largest events on this side, on this site, are the Celtic Fire festivals in the warmer months. So Beltane and our Green Spirit Festival, which is Lunasa or Lammas for some folks, and then we have our Samhain gathering. And we do celebrate Imbolc as well, but it's a one-day festival. It's the middle of a Wisconsin winter.
Yes.
Not good for camping outside.
A little bit cold. So
Yeah.
in saying that, you get snow up here?
A lot of snow. Yeah.
Really? For
Yeah.
how long would you get snow out of the
Well,
the
it's
season?
really varied. You know, there's been climate change happening, and some winters we've hardly gotten any. And this last winter we had polar vortex experiences multiple times, and several feet of snow on the ground. So
So you can, yeah.
yeah,
It's hard to
I have
tell.
a snow story that back in the mid 80s, an Australian film team from national television came out here as part of this documentary that they were putting together. And this fairly well-known director had his crew come out, and we're getting ready for the shoot, and he noticed there was no snow around. He said, well, I guess we'll come back another day. I said, well, we're doing the ritual today, whether you're filming it or not. And he was kind of looking, and I didn't realize how well known this guy was at that point. But we had people from our community, a very small group, and I said, well, we're going to go up, and we did a ceremony to dedicate this as a place for connecting with the planet and doing well-being. Well, the moment he changed his mind and decided he was going to film after all, it started snowing. Not just little flakes, but big flakes started coming down, at which point his team was going really wild, and he was going wild, and some of the people on the team, they must have lived in a part of Australia where there wasn't snow and never seen snow before. So somewhere out on the internet there is bit of this documentary showing the snow at this very circle, which if you compare the circle now to the
Yes.
circle nearly 30 years ago, it was much smaller in terms of the number of stones. And I talked with the director later, who, after they went back after the filming into their hotel in the local village and realized it hadn't snowed anywhere else but here. And he said, well, what's that about? And I said, you made the right choice. and so I'm hoping that someday I'll get to go to Australia so So the only way I've been there so far has been in my dreams, in cyberspace, and in this oldie but goodie documentary.
Well, you know, Selena, we're doing the Rose and Thorn tour in Australia. You can come with and we can make it a big party.
Oh, wouldn't that be fun?
That would be fun.
I would love to have you in Australia. Australia would love to have you.
Yeah.
Every American really that I've spoken to, they've said it's on their wish list that they'd like to come to Australia. And I think a lot of Australians feel that way about America. So it's really nice that we've connected. And we're here. I just wanted to mention too, just so that anybody asked with your story about the snow, today is, I believe it's the 11th. Friday the 11th of July 2014, just so that we can see the weather and the difference in weather, because a lot of people do ask me afterwards, what month was that, what season was it, because of the opposites with our hemispheres.
Right.
And just a little about the cemetery. You know, it was really special, the tour that you took us on, so thank you. It's really beautiful to see these marked graves. What do you feel, because we, as far as my understanding is, in Australia don't have paganism as a recognised religion or spiritual practice or belief system, so therefore there are no recognised pagan graveyards or cemeteries. Where would you suggest that we start? Because you said you went through a 10-year battle really to get to the position you are in now, and having a official recognised licensed cemetery here.
Well, actually, the 10-year battle was to get the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs to add the pinnacle to their list of emblems of belief that could be included on the grave markers it issues for deceased veterans. So that was a 10-year battle. But in terms of us doing the cemetery, it just emerged naturally. We checked in with our local government, and as long as we were interring cremains and scattering cremains, we didn't need to do any extra zoning work. But after we had been doing that for a time, we really wanted to have the option to do full body natural burials, which is an unembalmed body going into some biodegradable containers, such as an all-wood coffin, or a wicker basket, or an ecopod, or a shroud. And that container goes back to the earth, the body goes back to the earth, because it's not embalmed. And so we had to do some additional work, but it actually went fairly well, and we became the first green cemetery in Wisconsin to get cemetery status. And we're actually one of the first green cemeteries in the U.S. when you go back to our actual origins back in 1995, when we started our dedication of our cemetery and started putting cremains here. So it's really exciting to see the growth of green cemeteries. Essentially what green cemeteries are, conserving green space and combining that with ancient practices for honoring the dead. Unembalmed bodies returned to the earth, they compost back to the earth, cremains being scattered on the land or buried in the land. So I'm very thankful that we've had the opportunity to have the cemetery part continue to grow and develop here. And we have people from many different walks of life in part of this country that have their loved ones' remains here. And it has become a pilgrimage spot for people, as well as a place where people can go and connect with this place dedicated to the dead in a sacred way.
Absolutely beautiful. Well done for doing that, you know, and maintaining it. And how would you say now with regards to numbers, what are we looking at with our full body burials, and how many people would that be as opposed to our cremations, our ashes?
Yeah, most of what we have here are cremation, and some of the cremation interments are marked by stones, some are marked memorial stones with names and dates on it, some are made marked by a cairn, a small pile of rocks, and some aren't marked, are prairie. Some ashes have been scattered there, and it depends on the family and the wishes of the deceased that were communicated. We have a variety of different options, and so I think what's really wonderful about having a nature preserve that also includes a green cemetery is that it's a place where you can celebrate nature, but you also can pay respects to those who have gone before, and be a teaching place about ways to green the end of life. And really, it isn't a new thing. as much as taking some really old traditions and having them now in a structured part of society that conserves green space. Where thousands of years ago people weren't really considering that whole planetary need
Yes.
for conserving green space. Well, we're in a different place with our planet right now. This circle, we have done many different ceremonies during the course of the year, and one of our main focal points for doing work here is to have ourselves be not only in good relation with other humans, but the larger circle of life. And literally when you're here facing the different quarters, we have the north quarter there with some stones from caves. We have the east quarter with some feathers and other rocks with lots of holes in them. We have the south quarter with some igneous rocks. We've got the west quarter with a number of shells and other things that have come from various oceans and seas in the world. As we face each of the directions, we see this greater circle of nature around us. We are in a naturally occurring oak grove, and we are in a part of Wisconsin that was never glaciated. It's a
Yes.
bioregion. It's called the driftless area. And the glaciers came down, split apart, joined together, and this small corner, mostly of southwestern Wisconsin, never glaciated. And of course there's all sorts of folklore and magic and mystery around that. Regardless of the scientific and the folkloric reason for that, we have a very unique geological area here and bioregional area, and that's why the outcroppings have the colors and the formations that they do, because we had no glacial advance here. So it's really wonderful to be able to caretake this piece of the driftless area.
It's absolutely beautiful. It's stunning. So these, you were saying before, these trees, there's different variants of the oak. You've got the white oak, the red oak, the northern red oak.
Right, and we have
Yeah.
bur oak. The whole field out there that is now being turned back to prairie was once oak savanna prairie. So that'd be a combination of bur oak and all sorts of prairie grasses and plants.
Do you have the prairie dog? You know, there's a story
We
about
have
the prairie dog.
hedgehogs of sorts. We have groundhogs, as they are most known here. Haven't seen any prairie dogs here, but certainly the prairie that we, oh good, that's some nice sunshine coming up.
Yes.
The kind of prairie environment we have is something that's very commonplace in the central part of the U.S.
So what sort of animals would we have here? I've seen, because we've got animals that you don't have, and I know, you know, so have you. And what did we see on the road, Elizabeth, that I hadn't seen before? It was actually in Salem.
Porcupine.
It was a groundhog.
Groundhog.
Is it a
Yeah, we have groundhogs here, we have fox, we have coyote, we have a bobcat. Not seen very often, but it's basically a wild cat. And we have squirrels and chipmunks and many, many different kinds of birds. And we've done quite a bit of preservation of habitat and working on restoration of the prairie and the forest and the wetlands. And we've done a lot of work with wild songbirds conservation. So that's been another important part of our
So
work.
you're very busy, so how do you have time for all of this?
Lots of people helping. We
Yeah.
have volunteers, we have small staff that helps anchor the different things that we do. And I'm just really thankful for the support that we had from people from many different paths, not only in the States, but in other parts of the world, including Australia. So I'm just very thankful that our project is continuing, and I want to thank everybody that has been supporting us, whether it's giving us comments on Facebook or coming out here and bringing stone for our stone circle, attending one of our gatherings, donating to one of the projects we do. It's really wonderful to be able to connect with people from so many different paths and places.
It's beautiful, isn't it? It's fantastic. You're doing such a great job. What message would you have for Australia, for all the Australians that are watching, all our pagans and our witches and our Wiccans and our eclectics and traditionals, and I've got to cover everyone, you know, because there's a lot.
Much love and many blessings. So glad that you are there, and may we all find good ways to work together for a more sustainable planet and a better world.
Blessed be.
Blessed be.
Thank you so much for your time. It's been fantastic. And as we end our time together, the sun shines down on
We've got
us.
some blue sky. This is good.
Good. We're going to have a great ritual tonight. We're going to have a full moon ritual. And I believe just as we close, it's a full moon in Capricorn. Is that right?
And
we've
it's
got a super moon, you
and
said.
many people call it the supermoon. There are several times during the course of the year where the moon appears a bit larger because of the elliptical orbit and its approach to the Earth. And it officially becomes full moon right after moonset tomorrow morning. So tonight is really the night to see the moon in its fullness, and hopefully we'll be blessed with some clear skies, or part of the sky anyway, and we'll get a chance to see some moon at some point tonight.
Absolutely. We've got a lot of people coming, so I know there's lots to do to get ready for this ritual. And I'm looking forward to sharing some love for Australia and a little invocation in a small part of the ritual for Australia. So everybody who's been watching online, I've got your messages as well with prayers and so forth. So we will be casting that soon, and we will see you again really, really soon. Thank you, Selena. Mwah.
Many blessings.
Many blessings. Blessed be.
Blessed
Bye-bye.
be.